Department of Homeland Security is about to shut down. We don't know how to get it back open. What does that mean? It means ICE will be shut down. It means TSA will be shut down. They're not going to be paid. That'll impact airport travel. Coast Guard be shut down. FEMA, God help us if we have a natural disaster. What's about to happen is top of the list, king of the hill, number one, stupid. Because the Karen wing of the Democratic Party wants to defund ICE. The Democratic Party also wanted us to defund the police.
That was just a taste of what Senator John Kennedy did on the Senate floor. And let me tell you, if you're tired of the games being played in Washington, you're going to want to sit down for this one. We're talking about a government shutdown. We're talking about TSA, the Coast Guard, the people who actually keep this country running, not getting paid. And why? Because according to Kennedy, the Karen wing of the Democratic Party is more worried about their activist base than they are about your safety. I'm telling you, Kennedy doesn't just give a speech. He performs a political demolition. He's looking Chuck Schumer right in the eye and calling out the absolute circus that's happening behind closed doors. We're about to watch the full thing. And trust me, the way he describes Schumer's leadership, it's probably the most relatable thing I've heard out of DC in a decade. Let's get into the full clip. This is Kennedy at his absolute best, dropping truth bombs that the mainstream media is probably too scared to even air.
Some people are going to try to tell you, American people, that what we're engaged in is a rational discussion of how to use scarce taxpayer dollars to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Now, that's not true. Wish it were. Department of Homeland Security is about to shut down. We don't know how to get it back open. What does that mean? It means ICE will be shut down. We've got some ideas about how to keep it operating. They have enough money. It means TSA will be shut down. They're not going to be paid. That'll impact airport travel. Coast Guard be shut down. FEMA, God help us if we have a natural disaster, it'll be shut down. What's about to happen is top of the list, king of the hill, number one, stupid. And it's happening just not because of policy. It's happening because of raw gut politics. If you could see what I see, your gag reflex would be permanently triggered. Here's what's going on. The Karen wing of the Democratic Party is in control of the Democratic Party. And the Karen wing of the Democratic Party, not all Democrats, but there's clearly a Karen wing. Sometimes I call them the loon wing. They have gone to the Minority Leader Jeffries and my friend Senator Schumer and said, don't you vote for that Homeland Security bill. Why? Because the Karen wing of the Democratic Party wants to defund ICE. Now, we've seen this vampire movie before. The Karen wing of the Democratic Party also wanted us to defund the police. How'd that work out for us? The criminals are still laughing. Now they want to defund ICE. And Senator Schumer and Minority Leader Jeffries, two good men, they've made a bunch of unreasonable demands that no person with a brain above a single-cell organism would vote for. It would put handcuffs on ICE. That's just a fact. And they know that. I'm not going to vote for him. Sure not going to vote for him with a gun to my head. Now, but I'll tell you the reality. We could go to Senator Schumer and the minority leader in the House and say, okay, we accept every one of your conditions. The Democrats still are not going to vote to keep DHS open. I mean, I don't blame Senator Schumer for trying, but he's kind of wandering around here like one of those Roombas. He looks like a man who's lost his luggage at the airport. I mean, he's making these demands, and if we accepted them, we're not, but if we did, he couldn't deliver the votes. Because nobody on my side of the aisle wants to defund ICE. And that's what this is all about. And some of my colleagues are trying to pretty it up. Lots of play acting. They might be late, a little late for getting their name in for the Academy Awards, but maybe next year. They're trying to muddy the water, make it look deep. Like we're having this discussion about efficiencies at the Department of Homeland Security. Nope, very simple. The Karen wing of the Democratic Party has told every single Democrat, if you don't vote to shut down DHS, if you do vote to fund ICE, we will punish you politically the rest of your natural lives. That's why we're about to have a shutdown. Now, this stuff isn't complicated. Here's what I think most Americans believe. Illegal immigration, Mr. President, is illegal. Duh. If none of us are above the law, I believe that. I bet you believe that. If no one is above the law, how come people in our country illegally are above the law? Immigration statutes are not some second-tier laws that you can violate without consequence. It's the law. If you don't like it, change it. I believe in enforcing our immigration laws. Now, how you enforce them matters. By God, you better believe it matters. Those laws have got to be enforced in conformity with equal protection and with due process and in accordance with standards set forth by the United States Supreme Court. I think it was 1968 in a very famous case called Terry v. Ohio. Cop can't stop you unless that cop has reasonable suspicion. Not probable cause. Reasonable suspicion to believe that you have committed, are committing, or is about to commit a crime. It's not subjective. It's an objective standard. And our cops, including but not limited to our ICE officers, have to follow it. Now, you can protest. That's fine. That's your right to protest. You don't have the right to protest violently. You don't have the right to harass an ICE officer. You don't have a right to spit in his face. You don't have a right to threaten his children. You don't have a right to get his home address and go to his house and try to harass his family. You don't have the right to block the street so the ICE officer can't get through. You don't have to have the right to kick out a cop's tail light. You don't have the right to go burn Christmas trees. You have the right to protest. But not violently. Because you know what? Two reasons. Violence undermines the morality that you say your movement is built upon. Dr. King knew that. That's why he wanted nonviolent protest. Gandhi knew that. President Mandela knew that in South Africa. Violence undermines the morality that you say your movement is built on. Now, there's a second reason that you can't protest violently. It's against the law. And it's bone deep, down to the marrow, stupid. If you act like a butthead with a cop or an ICE officer, it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. Here's a little tip. It's free. Cops will leave you alone unless you do illegal stuff. And that's what this debate is all about. I hope we get it worked out. I don't want to see flights stop. I don't want to see FEMA not be able to respond. I don't want to see the Coast Guard have to shut down. But the Karen wing of the Democratic Party.
Is there anyone else in Washington who speaks plain English like John Kennedy? I mean, seriously, let's talk about that Karen wing comment first. That is exactly what it feels like, isn't it? You've got these radical activists who act like they're the moral police of the world, and they've got the leadership of the Democratic Party. Guys like Schumer and Jeff absolutely terrified. And Kennedy's Roomba analogy. I nearly lost it. Think about it. Chuck Schumer wandering around the Senate like a lost vacuum cleaner, bumping into walls, looking for his luggage at the airport. It's funny because it's true. These guys have no plan. They're making demands that a person with a brain above a single-cell organism wouldn't even consider. All just to keep their activist donors happy while the rest of us deal with the consequences. The most powerful part for me, though, was when he got into the immigration stuff. Illegal immigration is illegal. Duh. I mean, thank you. Finally. How many times do we have to hear these politicians try to muddy the waters? If we aren't going to enforce the law, why do we even have it? Kennedy hit the nail on the head when he talked about how these activists treat law enforcement. They'll block streets. They'll spit in faces. They'll harass families. And then they wonder why the country is in chaos. He's right. Violence and harassment completely destroy the morality of your movement. You can't claim the moral high ground when you're acting like a thug. What we saw here wasn't just political theater. It was a guy from Louisiana standing up and saying what every hard-working American with a mortgage and a family is thinking. Stop the play acting and do your jobs. The Democrats chose the shutdown. They chose the chaos, and they did it because they'd rather see a crisis than see a functioning border or a supported police force. Kennedy called them out for it, and the fact that they're furious about it just proves he hit the mark. What do you guys think? Did Kennedy nail it, or was he being too harsh? Personally, I think we need about 50 more John Kennedys in that chamber to finally clear out the rot. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get a conversation going. And if you're tired of the DC games, hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started.